Okay, sustainable practices. Sustainable packaging is packaging that has been manufactured from sustainable materials using energy from renewable resources. The packaging should remain safe and effective through its life cycle, after which its component materials should be fully recyclable, thus creating a closed loop of manufacturing and usage. It should still be able to meet the business requirements in terms of cost, performance, and safety. This involves increased use of the life cycle inventory and life cycle assessment, or LCA, to help guide the use of packaging, which reduces the environmental impact and ecological footprint. It includes a look at the whole of the supply chain from basic function to marketing and then through the end of life and rebirth. The goals are to improve the long term viability and quality of life for humans and the longevity of the natural ecosystems. Why sustainable package design? Well, we live in a world where most of us make purchases on a daily basis. Almost without exception, the goods we buy are supplied in some form of packaging. The importance of sustainable packaging to us and our environment is immense. Packaging containing potentially toxic or hazardous material poses a risk to humans and ecosystems. A great deal of energy is used in the production of packaging, and most often the source of that energy is fossil fuels, and it adds millions of metric tons of carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere per year, while such discarded packaging ends up in landfills or oceans, causing soil, water, and plant contamination. Our planet's natural resources, such as minerals and fossil fuels, clean water, and cultivatable land, have a limited availability. By using sustainable packaging, manufacturers and consumers can eliminate these contaminations that destroy the atmosphere, soil, and water of our planet. So, what is sustainable package design? It's beneficial, safe, and healthy for individuals and communities throughout its life cycle. It meets market criteria for performance and cost. It is sourced, manufactured, transported, and recycled using renewable energy. It optimizes the use of renewable or recycled source materials. It's manufactured using clean production technology and best practices, made from materials that are healthy throughout the life cycle, is physically designed to optimize materials and energy, and is effectively recovered and utilized in biological or industrial closed loop cycles. Minimizing materials. Sustainability goes hand in hand with source reduction. So, in other words, reducing volume of primary materials, or wherever possible, reducing the total amount of packaging used within any product is a sensible design objective. Using recycled materials. The greater the volume of recycled materials that can be designed into packaging, the more the industry's environmental footprint can be reduced. Recycled materials generally use less energy and therefore produce less greenhouse emissions. Using renewable materials, designers should aim to maximize the use of materials for renewable sources in the manufacture of packaging products. This plastic liquid soap bottle from Method might look ordinary, but it's what it's made out of that's so innovative. The company created the bottles using a blend of recycled plastic, a plastic collected from the ocean. Designed by a studio, by Korean studio Unplugged Design, the Dream Ball cardboard tubes turn footballs for kids in underdeveloped countries who often play with homemade balls that fall apart or hurt their feet. Instead, they can now use these durable cardboard balls for as long as they like. Joco cups, you'd probably never guess from looking at these, but they're both reusable and made out of glass, as well as being pretty darn cute. They also sell replacement parts, so if something on your cup breaks, you can just get a new piece rather than having to buy a whole new cup, which cuts down on materials. Minimizing risk associated with potentially toxic and hazardous materials. Packaging containing potentially toxic or hazardous materials poses a risk to humans and ecosystems. The design process should identify such materials and, when possible, remove them. Designing for transport. More efficient use of transport for distribution can make a significant reduction in energy consumption. Packaging needs to be designed in ways which reduce weight, maximizing the use of space, and uses bulk packaging where appropriate. Cubing out is the process of filling a shipping container to its most effective potential, and therefore packaging should be carefully designed with the thought given to how the pack in bulk is not just a single item. Designing for reuse packaging, which has been designed to be reused on in cases where it's appropriate, can make significant savings in energy and raw material usage. Sustainable light bulb packaging can take on other uses. So this was just a regular light bulb packaging. These are the sketches, and the designer thought it through in this concept in just the thumbnail stage, where they kind of work through the design to see how else could this package be used. Here it is in real life. Brazilian agency Saad Brand and Design has come up with this conceptual packaging solution for light bulbs. What makes this project so interesting is the sustainable factor, or the exploration of the use of the packaging for more than just its initial purpose. This is called multi-use packaging. Designing for recovery, companies which use recyclable materials when designing their packaging and provide the consumer with appropriate recycling information are making a positive contribution towards maximizing recovery and recycling rates. Designing for consumer accessibility. Designing packages to meet consumer accessibility expectations should take into account a number of requirements. Consumers demand forms of packaging which are safe, easy to open, and provide clear label information. What's more, they expect this to be provided without the cost of packaging adding excessively to that of the product itself. The bag introduced by Puma to pack their shoes is a good example of sustainable and eco-friendly packaging. The company structured a cardboard sheet and made the bag. This helped them save 65% of cardboard. The bag has no laminated printing, it weighs less, which is a plus in the energy saving department, and takes up less space. Also, the need for another bag to carry the shoebox is eliminated by this design. So keep this in mind. We're going to work on something similar. Here's a look at this process where it starts here in the manufacturing, goes to distribution. So they pack lighter. At retail, it's just one bag, one sheet here, and the consumer leaves with that and not another bag. So that's always helpful. Sustainable practices. Authenticity is the key. Nothing can destroy a brand faster than distrust. Consumers are getting more and more savvy about ecological issues, organic production, and the meaning of related certifications. The definition of sustainability is a moving target and changes dramatically depending on whether you're listening to a concerned consumer or Walmart. The Sustainable Packaging Coalition defines it as a cradle-to-cradle principle dedicated to transforming packaging into a system that encourages economic prosperity and a sustainable flow of materials, utilizing renewable resources within a program that sees to it benefiting the people or region where the resources or manufacturing comes from, and a responsible approach to waste both in volume and nature. This is Montezuma's premium chocolate brand in Europe. Is showing up when it comes to sustainability. 100% of the newly packaged range from Montezuma is now either recyclable, compostable, or biodegradable, but thankfully it does not detract at all from the stunning packaging. Isn't this beautiful? I would never have thought this was recyclable. On average, 48% of respondents to a research study on sustainable packaging and emerging consumer trends stated that they would seek alternative products if they thought their first choice contained excessive packaging. And although sustainable packaging is not yet the main reason for purchasing a product for most people, it is becoming a consumer expectation. It's one of a growing number of issues that are driving consumer choice. A growing public concern for sustainable development has moved governments worldwide to implement strict requirements on packaging to reduce the environmental impact of packaging and shift the cost of managing discarded packaging from government entities to its producers. The most substantial implication of these requirements include design standards such as material restrictions, recycled content requirements, and source reduction requirements. Documentation requirements, including the disclosure of technical and marketing characteristics of packaging, and labeling of packaging components to indicate packing material, funding of recovery, or other attributes.